This is a hands behind back, hip hinge, and toe tap. So I have a whole video on the hands behind back hip hinge. I'm not going to go over all those cues, so give that a watch if this is new to you. But the main one that I'll start with is I want to come here. Before I do anything, I want to take an inhale and an exhale to bring the rib cage down. Because most people, when their hands go behind their back, they'll arch like this. And I want to start in a position where the rib cage and the pelvis are roughly parallel to each other, maybe a little bit of core tension. And then I'm going to think about pushing my hands back with my sacrum or my back pockets or my glutes or butt. And I'm going to go until I feel I'm close to the end of my hip motion. Some people might feel a symmetrical but comfortable hamstring stretch, not a nerve stretch. Some people might not feel much, but they feel if they go further, their back starts to move in some way. Whatever it is for you, we'll go until my torso is maybe not 90 degrees, but more angled at the ground. I'll center my feet, and I'm going to have one leg go back and slightly to the side, then out straight to the side, and then forward. And then I'm going to press down through my feet to come up, hinge back, do the other leg, back at a 45, side, forward, back to center, press up, hinge again, back to the first side, reaching back, side, forward, and pressing up. Every couple of reps as I stand, I'll take that breath and just reset to make sure I'm not overarched at the low back. So what are we doing here? Well, the hope is we're getting comfortable with hip hinging, and if even that part feels a little foreign to you, we might backtrack to some hip hinging videos or exercises. But once we have that, I'm going to show a little bit of an angle here. I want to get stable on one leg without deviating too much from this position. So I'm asking one leg to now hold this position as my other leg moves. And the hope is that as you lift the leg up, nothing else really changes, meaning I don't get a lot of wobble at the knee. I don't get my knees going forward. I'm not collapsing at the back, also not coming higher into the quad and a more vertical torso, but I'm maintaining this hip hinge as I'm now adding a balance challenge and a bit of a weight shift challenge by my leg moving in different directions. And we should feel the hip and glute working to keep us upright. So I want the tension, the muscle work to be here, not pain or discomfort, but work through this area, because that's what's helping to keep us upright. You might feel a little in the quad, that's okay, but if it's only in the knee, you might have done more of a kind of squat technique, and now it's only my quad knee holding me up. So that's why we start with this hip hinge, and then I work through there. So this can be a very valuable drill for improving balance, improving comfort in a hip hinge. It's one I'll often use for cyclists. One of the positions that I'll teach cyclists, particularly with any back or hip issues, is when we're on the bike, we work in and out of a hip hinge throughout the ride. And so this is more of a single leg biased hip hinge. And so what does this position do? Gets us into a very similar spot, adds some endurance there. This is also, I find, a great way to progress into something like a single leg deadlift or a kickstand deadlift. Those I find are hard variations because once I get on one leg, it's harder to move through my hips if I'm not stable. So let's find that position and get comfortable there before adding more load or more complexity. So that's the drill. If I'm programming reps, typically one hinge and a tap in all three directions, and then a stand. That'll be one rep on my left, one rep on my right. And I like to, even if it can seem a little tedious, come up every time and then go back down for a couple reasons. I'm alternating legs. One is I get more reps in practicing this hip hinge. Number two, I get to alternate legs. And number three, it gives me an opportunity to kind of reset. So if something didn't feel great down here, I'm not trying to do a whole minute or something in a position that doesn't feel great. So no worries, every set, I come up, take a breath, relax, get my core oriented. Again, we have videos on all these different topics if you give a search on our channel. And then from there, I'll send my butt back, pushing my hands, and can work in through that way. If the balance is too wobbly, then just try a few of these hip hinges, and then maybe just keep one hand behind your back, another hand can go to a wall. If you get good at the hinge, hands can kind of be wherever, so hands don't eventually have to be behind the back, but often if we're learning the hip hinge and your shoulders are comfortable here, this can be a nice way to encourage the right position without coming too much through the spine there, without coming too much through the knees. So this kind of helps to encourage that hip motion that we're looking for to get the glutes involved, as well as to find stability and power more from the hips rather than from the lower back. So that's the hip hinge toe tap drill. Give it a shot. We should just feel work in the legs. Of course, no pain or discomfort.